you do a lot of keynote speaking, and you see these big events and the teams that it requires, whether it's the gentleman in the catering team who's pouring coffee, or the AV guy who's making sure your mic and your lighting are right, or the meeting professional that's making sure your room, your ground transportation is covered. There's a team. And I just want you to kind of tie that through for us on your journey, the grit, the resilience, finding a way. And while it sounds like, I was on the couch and I looked in the mirror, and I know you're not coming off that way, that just underscoring all the people that are unseen there and how important a part they play in that. It's more of an editorial than a question, but are you tracking me?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why at some point, and it's early on in my presentation, I make it very clear I'm a product of a lot of people. People have challenged me.
Yes.
People have inspired me. I find hope in people. And I share a few of those, obviously the Aristotles, the Chuck Knowles, the Walter Paytons, but there's a litany of people that have done those unique, or done some things, or do some things, or have done things along my journey that have made me who I am. And I find value in that. That's why in the end, I do make it very clear that like football's the greatest team sport I ever played, but life is the greatest team game. Individually we're strong, but collectively we are powerful. And that's why, when I have an event together, I'm like, what value do I have if I come here and nobody's here? And I get to share this message with no one. And even in my process prior to speaking, my goal is to find out more about who I'm going to speak to. That helps me. That changes me, not just in the message that I'm going to share or build on based on the client, but it helps me learn about them. And what I get to do this stuff, I've yet to go through that process and find out we are more alike than we are not.
Totally. I mean, I know you've spoken, emergency room nurses, soybean growers, and everything, asphalt, tile contractors. I mean, everybody all grapples and deals and wants to progress, towards expanding and having a life that they're proud of and feel strongly about sharing. It's just so true what you're saying.
And this actually, regardless, I'm getting ready to speak to a big financial group in Chicago, and Shell just reached out to me to speak. And I spoke at an event they were doing in Pittsburgh. Now they've asked me to come to this corporate event in Houston. Anyway, there's some completely different dynamics of and what they all do and what they're dealing with in a way, but it all narrows back down to the one thing that everybody is trying to do is they're trying to evolve and grow and get better. And what Find a Way, I said in the very beginning, Find a Way is not about me. Find a Way is about you. It's about them. Somebody asked me, what's your goal about speaking? And I was like, well, geez, I've never been asked that before, but I thought real quick. I said, well, whatever the client, I usually I gear everything around what the client is trying to do. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No, I do have a goal. When I get done speaking, if they're talking about me, I did a bad job. But if they're thinking about themselves, then I did a good job. Because Find a Way is about people and it's about them. And it's about where their journey is. And it's not about trying to get an award. And I think that's where sometimes we get lost. You're trying to get that award, and that award can be a variety of things. I go, it's better to be rewarded than have an award that sits on a trophy that sits on a mantle. You can be rewarded in life with peace and joy and happiness, things that resonate and last in your craft and in your personal life. And you can gain personal success from that. When you learn how to grow and evolve like that, you mentioned an important thing that I'm glad you used the word things. When you said boats and cars and stuff like that, you know what? I had more things a long time ago. I have less things now.
Yeah.
And I'm happier.
Yeah.
I am happier. And somewhere I almost said, I'm just about as happy. Like, things don't make you happy. You think they make you happy, but they just don't make you happy. I have found a better way in life to, peace and joy and happiness, like, things that matter to you, things that you like doing, things you enjoy doing, and trying to constantly grow and evolve. I think service to others is awesome. I'm hosting this American Cancer Society in Chicago, and then one in Cincinnati, and we were just doing videos of that. And one of the questions was like, why do I get involved in it? And I'm like, well, anytime you're affected by something, I think that's just like an immediate connection. But I go, the thing that probably stands out the most about things that I admire in people is people that have never been affected by cancer, meaning that it didn't happen to them personally, and they don't really know anybody other than like a third party. And they just, I want to help and I want to serve. And I just applaud people like that. I applaud
Yeah.
the type of people that are out there, and I want to acknowledge them, and
Yeah.
because without them, I wouldn't be alive. I
Yeah.
really wouldn't, with those type of groups.
Yeah, it's inspiring. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of chills. I shared with you earlier, I've been affected by cancer personally. My father passed away when I was young. But I want to underscore something that you said about keynote speaking, but how it's tied into your purpose and how you view serving others. And you must, by osmosis, have heard one of our 90 plus episodes, because I explain it this way, and you said it so beautifully. If people leave my keynote and they're talking about me, I failed, or I don't know if you used the word fail, I haven't done my job, or it's not what your goal was. And here's what I say. I say, if I ask speakers, so I talk to all the time, when you get feedback, what do you hear? And a lot of times they're taken back by the question. I say, no, just tell me, the mic's off, they're out in the getting coffee or taking a bathroom break or whatever. And what they say, oh, they love my story. Oh, they're telling me I'm a great storyteller. And I just make a mental note of it. And I call that admiration. So what ends up happening, not by any fault, conscious fault, let's say, of the speaker, what their strong suit is that they're leaning on their charm, their charisma, some magnetism, and the audience is left with them as a personality. So of course, the feedback's going to be, you're an incredible storyteller. What a great story. As opposed to, hey, Merril, do you have a minute? That story you shared with me about, Coach Noel, it made me think I need to go call my uncle. I need to clean something up. And I just wanted to
Correct.
let you know that you sparked that in me. Thank you. Appreciate it later on. Big love. You disappeared. The anecdote, the core virtue,
Correct.
the message, the distinction that you wanted to share got through there. Merril Hoge was not existing there. The idea, the thought, the philosophy, Aristotle, Walter Payton, Pocatello, Idaho, your whole body of work got through. And now in this made up example, this guy's going to talk to his uncle and clean something up. And I just love that you say that, because when I talk to meeting professionals, when I ask them, what do you want your attendees to walk away with? It's not just on a superficial level, I don't want to have any problems and I hope my boss likes it. It's deeper than that. It's an opportunity. And I'm going off on a soliloquy here, Merril, but you've seen it where you're up there. It's sacred. You're in front of 500 people. You're imparting your journey, which is one journey in billions, billions. And you want to make a difference. And it's just so powerful. I just applaud you. I don't know. I'm going on a soliloquy. I just thank you for saying that, because I've said it on this podcast a million times.